All right, guys, we're back, and I'm actually going to start on this body first. So, some of the first things you're going to have to do is these corners. They wasn't machined real well, so you're going to have to smooth these out. And I actually, anytime I start with something like this, I always sand flat with a block, and I try to go with the grain where I can. Obviously, going around the corners, you can't do that, but you're gonna go over it, and you're just flattening it out and giving it something to bite to your finish. And like I said, these corners, you are going to have to round these. They were not machined the best. So you're going to have to go over those and try to fix that. And of course, you know you're going to go over your front. And I like to try to go over these routes right here. Anything that was routed, I try to go smooth. You're going to get your back. And I like to start with like a 320 or something, as long as maybe on these edges you might have to go a little rougher to get those things smoothed out. So I'll keep working on this thing, and then I'll bring you back here. All right, so we're back here, and so after you've got it sanded, the next thing you're going to want to do is you want to get all of this dust cleaned up. You're going to get the guitar cleaned up really well. And it probably doesn't hurt if you have an air compressor to take it outside and blow it off also. And so the next best thing after you wipe this off is to take naphtha or something similar. Make sure you're in a well ventilated area. Take it outside, wipe it off, and that will evaporate, and it will take any dust, handprints, anything like that off. And that way, when you go to stain this, you won't have anything to get in your stain and make it. Well, the whole point behind it is try not to make it a blotchy finish. So I'm going to get this thing cleaned off here, and I'll bring you back when we're getting ready to do some color. All right, I'm back, guys. So I'm going to use Rit as my stain. This is actually the neon green. So with that color, you should know already what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to make like a dime slime type guitar. So we're going to do the neon green around the outside with a neon yellow in the center as a burst. Make sure you got your gloves on, people, because otherwise you will go to work the next day and look like you are an alien or something. All right, so this is going to be trial and error. I've never used the Rit on anything before, so it's supposed to be pretty good. We will find out here. So I guess probably the edges might be the best place to start here. So and if it's not dark enough, I actually have another green, because I was kind of curious on how this was going to work on straight mahogany. I think on just like a flamed maple, it's going to work real well. but mahogany being a darker color than it is, it's probably going to, I don't know how exactly it's going to work here. So I think the main thing on this stuff is to get it shook up and get that color in there real well. Better watch that, huh? Real easy to boo-boo with this. So probably about there, I'm imagining. Yep, I really probably should have screwed a stick in the neck pocket here. So I'll continue this and then I'll bring you back here at a later point. Alright guys, I'm back, and so far I'm about 3 coats into this on the edge for the neon green, and it definitely starts to look better the more coats you get. So I'm going to keep coating this thing up, and I'll bring you back here in another stage. I believe what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the green burst on the front and back. So the original Dime Slime guitars, they actually were stained brown on the back. And there's some color variations in those things that we probably need to talk about. So when you talk about the original Dean Dime Slimes and the Stealth models and those ones, they appear to be a neon green and neon yellow. But when you go to the Washburns, they appear to be a darker green and a more of a standard yellow type color in the center. So just keep that in mind. I mean, there are some color variations in those. I don't know that anything's set in stone on those. Just a little tidbit of information there. All right, guys, we are on the back now, starting the burst. So here's a finish trick. So if you're unsure something is going to work, always start on the back. That way, that's against you, and you can experiment on the back. You don't want to start on the top and make a boo-boo, because then you got a boo-boo to look at. So we'll start on the burst on the back here, and that way if we have to experiment with the yellows, we can get it down pat on the back, and that way when we go to the front, we'll have it nailed down. So I'll bring you back here when I start the yellows. All right, guys, we're back, and I'm going to start trying the neon yellow. Been shaking it a whole bunch. This is a clean red shirt. See, that way I'm not mixing the colors and making any boo-boos. Let's set that one out of the way here. So I'm going to start in the center with this, and this one actually looks a little, let me see if I can catch it in the camera. Looks a little weird. It's almost orange looking versus it's supposed to be neon yellow, so maybe that's the way yellow works. But let's see here what we got. How does that look on camera? Yeah, I guess it's going to be a yellow. May have to work on yellows. picked the old shirt that doesn't take liquid real well. I'm making a mess. Well, it might be doing the thing. Let me put you on pause here and we'll let this thing dry and I'll put another coat on here. Alright guys, we're back and that actually turned out better than I thought it was going to. Hopefully it shows up on the screen pretty well. So I'm going to roll it over here. And that's what we had started out with before we done the yellow. So yeah, it done pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one laid in and then we'll finish the video for today. So let me put you on pause here. I'm going to get a new rag. Alright guys, I'm back. Got a new rag. Hopefully this one takes the writ a little better. So I like to try to shake this stuff before I use it. Just make sure it's mixed up well. And let's let her soak in for a minute there. See how it does here. I think the trick is on here is to go over your edge just a little bit and soften it up. If you look at actual dime slime guitars, there's just very little around the edge. It's green. It comes out in the face of the guitar. let's let that set a while and dry. We may have to do another coat over top of that. And actually, it seems to look fairly decent on the screen. So we'll keep working with this thing, and it's pretty close. I feel like maybe on the edges here, we can maybe do the darker green, maybe. Just on the edge here, not coming out in the face of the guitar. It actually, the writ done pretty well. Really on the green, you probably could do the darker green and then go over it with the yellow probably and soften it up. And I still may fool with it and do that just around the edges, on the edge here. But thank y'all for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.